welcome to Ask Me Anything. Oh my Gen AI. And today is a practical toolkit tour with myself and Seeing Blue. Yeah, and we're excited to be here once again with you guys. Okay, so today's skills matrix alignment aligns with, well, there is scripting. Specifically, we don't have an AI section in here, but this is relevant. Meta Horizon systems, the use of Meta Horizon specific technical features and capabilities. And we're also touching on the art subsection, assets, the design and creation of static meshes for use as world environments or items, props, wearables, characters, including meshes and textures. All right, so some important info. This session is recorded. The session will be posted on the Learn site later. Mute yourself, please. Mute yourself like when it's necessary. But honestly, I always say, let's have a party. Please don't be shy. Um, Raise your hands if you do have questions. But we usually have the Q&A at the end, so don't you worry. Keep questions concise, limit them to 2 to 3 minutes so everyone can get a chance. Um, Share context beforehand. Just use the chat, guys. There's always somebody there willing to help out. We have a great community here, so be open there. Yeah, be active in the chat, share relevant insights, and help answer others' questions when possible. And also, you guys know me. I really love getting those feedbacks in the surveys. They are very important for our programming. So please take the time, give us some love, and please be truthful in those questions, because then we can use that to really perfect our programming. So definitely utilize that. And tag me or Blue or any of the mentors or anybody in the forums or the discords. Just don't DM us, because it can get overwhelming. At least if we have it like organized, we can get to you in a timely fashion. All right, so today is about Gen AI, like all things Gen AI. So we're going to touch base on everything really quickly. Rewiring your creative process, the Gen AI mindset. Traditional development teaches us to be in complete control. Gen AI development requires a different approach. Instead of just learning tools, we need to develop a new mindset, embrace uncertainty rather than demanding perfection. So what does this mean? So it's more so like, okay, you can be like super duper detailed or you could be super duper simple. You're gonna have to kind of learn to kind of like guide the AI to actually do what you want it to do. So that's the next bullet point. Guide rather than command these systems. So you can say, hey, make me a boat. And it will just make you a boat, but you don't have control. It's like you're gonna have to kind of like, you know, push it along to what you actually really want. I know there's a lot of people who have been um playing around with this AI, but let's take it a little step further. Think like a director. That's where you come along and you're really using that last bullet point where you're guiding the AI to get exactly what you need.
Trying to set the scene with words, right?
Yes, exactly. The key isn't just what tools you use, but how you approach them. All right, the 5 P's of Gen AI mindset. Go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, first P, partnership. So treat AI as like a collaborator or your personal assistant and not just a tool. Like use it to explore ideas rather than as shortcuts. I always find myself personally like limiting how I engage with AI, but every day I'm having to remind myself that um, to that I can ask it questions, and I'm trying to think of the words that I'm looking for here, but the kind of questions that you can ask it, and then the way you can chain questions together, like it continues to amaze me every day. So you know, don't be afraid to ask it new questions, explore new possibilities with it because it's changing every day as well. So what didn't work yesterday might work tomorrow.
Absolutely, I agree. And so the next P is patience. Accept 50% of control. Be willing to iterate, refine prompts, and guide the process. So we all know about like when it gets wonky and hallucinates rather. Sometimes it's good to step back and then come back and really still kind of like refine your prompts and stuff like that. So I mean it's all about waiting and patience. I mean, we're already cutting our creation time in significantly. So, why not wait a little more and just kind of like refine your responses even further. So, um go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, that goes right into the next point, I think. Purpose driven. So start with a goal, know what you want before asking. And my personal experience is it's not great on open-ended requests. So really try, like we said earlier, to paint that picture in words of what you want, and try to be specific, and that they usually work out much better for you.
Nice. And the next one is proof checking. Verify before implementing, test code, and examine assets, and evaluate all AI suggestions critically. As far as code's concerned, Blue, you're more of an expert on that part. But when it comes to assets, I do like to look at certain imperfections that would bother me, but then we can take it a step further. And if it's minor, um, we could always kind of like look past these things. But me, I do like to use the AI as a tool for kind of like planning ahead. Then I'll go in and work my magic as far as like 3D modeling is concerned. So proof checking, just look for those tiny imperfections that you can't you can't deal with in a sense. So go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, I've seen back on the proof checking real fast as far as testing your code. Um, I always proofread, but at the same time, I've seen it take out like pieces of my code that I had intended on keeping there. For whatever reason, it deemed it unnecessary and took it out. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, I had to back up and try again. But the next and last P is playfulness. So I might have stepped on this one a little bit earlier, but it says experiment freely, try unexpected approaches, and discover new possibilities. So now this is where we get into the each individual Gen AI tool that we have available. So we've got about 45 minutes here. So we want to spend a little time on each one, go through a couple examples for each one, but we'll have to be real brief in order to have enough time to fit all of them in. So the first one we'll be visiting today is we'll be looking at the TypeScript um, Gen AI in the desktop editor, specifically the Llama and the specialized versions. We'll take a look at examples from both of those and talk about their difference there. But basically, the TypeScript tool is going to be your personal AI assistant for your scripts. It'll help you get code examples in an instant, and it can help answer any scripting questions that you might have. The second AI we'll look at today is the audio generation AI. So this one I find super handy for generating both sound effects in your world because not only will it let you create some unique sounds that you might not be able to find online and upload, but you can also get variations of those sounds very easily, which can just increase the dynamics and of your world. Also, generating ambient tracks, that can be a little tricky. You've got to know what it's good at, what it's not good at. We'll take a look at some examples of that as well. And then I think we get into Glitter's territory.
Yes, creating stunning skyboxes. Quickly prompt and go. This is a great way to lead inspiration in your world. So, Sometimes like we start backwards. Like we need some inspiration as far as like color and theme, and why not start in the sky? And this is definitely have this has been my most favorite part, is generating these skyboxes. I mean, there's so many possibilities. Sometimes it gets a little wonky, but once you actually hit that sweet spot, you get something really cool. Just imagine what your sky will look like. Then give the Gen AI your simple prompt. I keep my prompts simple. I sometimes do a little more kind of like what I like to call the meat and potatoes, but sometimes I feel like keeping my prompts simple really works well for me. And once you've generated the sky, you like press save and apply that sky dome button. I mean, really, it's just that easy, and I'm probably not the only one who's already made like hundreds of skyboxes. It's just absolutely fun. And so another thing is that is really cool is creating textures. Did you know you can retexture any mesh shape? Here you can pull any basic shape provided in the shapes menu. Once you get the desired texture, press save and apply the texture. It's that easy. And today I'm gonna go over that, and it's super fun to do so. And like you could basically create a whole world just by retexturing those basic shapes. Like it's that easy, and it's super fun to iterate. So definitely I hope you guys have at least tried it out, or you'll see how it works today if you have not. And we're going to do a little bit of mesh creation. So let's start imagining our land. Here I simply start from the ground up. So using a simple prompts for items to stage to the scene, prompting the ground. Oh my God, promoting. Hello. Prompting the ground and then the mountains. So afterwards, you save your mesh, place in world for a new stunning view. And today I'm going to show you how I play around with that. It's super duper fun. All right, so the levers to success. First is documentation. We do have some really good documentation, so don't ignore those. Those are there to guide you. Study the documentation. There's a wealth of information waiting for you. So there is a Horizon Worlds Bible made by Waffles and Gang. So definitely check that out if you are a master scripter. Practice. The more you do, the more you retain. Hands-on experience is key. And don't forget this new Gen AI mindset. Treat Gen AI as a creative partner. Embrace iteration, set clear goals, verify outputs, and experiment freely. And that's what it's all about. Like being an artist, being a developer, just be curious, like really like test those boundaries and make mistakes, lots of mistakes. That's key. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Of course, that forum is there for all of us, and that is going to be our main communication and resource for all things desktop editor Horizon Worlds. So please, like, really bring in that traffic in that forum. Our forum is the perfect place to get guidance from mentors and peers.
I
Or
think
is
that's
that
the
it?
last one before the feedback one, right?
All right. Yeah. So, okay, Blue, take it away.
All right. I think in chat, Bradley says, pro tip, pre-prompt test outside the app with a prompt to polish your prompt before you use it for Gen AI. So if I understand correctly, you're referring to using other AIs to kind of tailor your prompt for you to submit into the Gen AI. I think that's a great idea. It's a great use of AIs kind of against each other, right? And Mackenzie says, can you also ask ChatGTP for prompts for exactly what you want while keeping it regular slash semi-simple?
So I've seen
Medium
so
to
many
short
people do
prompts
that.
seem to help me. Yeah, I think you're gonna find. What'd you say, Glitter? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was agreeing. I've seen so many people do that. So go
So
ahead.
I think you're going to find in the desktop editor, it's kind of the same. In my experience, it doesn't really tend to like really long, complicated, drawn out, detailed request. It seems to respond better to short stuff. And hopefully I can back those up with some examples here. So let's take a look at those. Let's go ahead and pull up my desktop editor. Here it is. And I've got GenAI open already. And so let's start with the TypeScript generator. So I was able to play around with this a little bit last night and had asked it a series of questions that I want to again ask today from both Llama and specialist models. So last button on the menu at the moment anyway is your TypeScript. If you hover over any number of these, they should tell you what they're for. If for whatever reason you close this and you've lost it and you can't get it back, then you should have GenAI button appear in the upper left corner. So we bring it open. When we select the model we want, sometimes we get extra options. We're going to start with Llama, but they also have a specialist, which is supposed to be, like they say, fine-tuned for TypeScript specifically. We'll see about that, right? And so last night I was thinking, what are some basic questions that like a beginner or someone might ask the AI? And I remember, at least coming from a code blocks background, one of the first things I wanted to know or needed to know was how to respawn a player if they were to fall off my world and hit, I can place a trigger. They hit that trigger, how can I write TypeScript in order to bring them back up to a spawn point? And so in what I thought was layman's terms I could come up with, I asked the Llama AI, how can I respawn a player with a trigger gizmo? Now I've kind of already led it a little bit by even just mentioning trigger gizmo. Without it, it may or may not produce good results, but just to save time today, we'll go ahead and throw in the trigger gizmo. I'm thinking the more specific you are with your request while simultaneously being able to keep them short, the better kind of responses you're going to get out of this thing. So let's take a quick look over this to see if he's made any mistakes. Two different kinds of import. The way they do I've seen it do this import. It's kind of weird. Like he didn't need to import entity explicitly if he imported the whole core package, but that's okay. It's not going to break anything. It's still going to work. The class looks like it's created correctly. The props definition has a reference to a spawn point, which is an entity. That all looks correct. In the start method, he's connecting to a code block event on this entity. So we're going to be running this on the trigger, I'm assuming, because we're connecting to the code block event on player enter trigger. We're passing a player parameter that comes with this event. And they're just using an arrow function, which is just fine for this simple example. They're casting a constant using the props definition spawn point, casting it as a spawn point. This looks perfect, actually. I think you could probably copy and paste this and it's going to work for you. So no more descriptive than we had to get respawning a player with a trigger. It did great. And then it does go on to sort of explain this to you as well, which I think is great if you're just learning, right? So I've read over these before. They seem to be pretty accurate descriptions of what's going on here. If we were to ask another question, one of the other that comes to mind is, how do I return an object to its original position? Let's see if we can knock both of these out back to back, right? So started with some descriptions, we got some code back, more code. That's interesting. So let's read over the descriptions real quick. Importing props and entity. So we did two different imports again, which is fine, but I don't know why it wants to split them up like that. Everything looks good. Now we have a trigger in here as a props definition. We're connecting to triggers, trigger enter event. What did we do? I don't know why we connected to, wait a second. So I probably should have cleared chat. It may have carried to respawn a player. So yeah, that's a good like a live demonstration, right? If I was to ask the same question again, because we've got like to respawn a player with a trigger gizmo, it continued to answer my last question, which is not what I wanted. I wasn't expecting that. Um, but if I was to hit new chat, paste in my new question, let's see if we get a better response. While we're waiting on that, Bradley says in chat feedback, it would be nice if the builder would also search code databases with already built-in code methods. Yeah, I agree. And it is still fairly new. Hopefully they can dig in a little deeper into our code and stuff possibly in the future and be able to do something like that. So let's see, one import this time. That's good. Class seems to be set up properly. Return to original position. We've got some private vector, a private quaternion. On start, we're getting position and rotation of our object, connecting to an onGrabEnd event. That all looks great. Private event or private function, handle on end, sends it back. This looks like it would work. Just at first glance, I'm not seeing any issues. I think this is great. So takeaway here is to start a new chat with each question, apparently. It'll work better that way. Now, I want to move on because I don't want to waste a lot of time here. I want to make sure we have plenty of time for each of the Gen AIs today. But I will say last night when I was doing some of these same tests, I had a little more time and I ran some of these in the specialist. And we can probably run one real quick just while I'm closing out here. But if I ask for the same return script in the specialist, let's see what we get. Honestly, Llama was winning the test, the competition last night between the results, right? So Llama was getting more of them right than the specialist was. But if we take a quick look here, everything looks good. It's actually using pre-start this time, which I think is a better idea. Store bindings. So on grab start, we're storing. Yeah, I don't like this already. I don't think that would work. On grab start, players already grabbed it, throws this event, objects moved, then we're setting original positions at that point. Not a good idea. Yeah, again, Llama wins even in this last minute test here. This is not a copy and paste script, probably would not work the way that it's wrote. Llama got it right twice in a row with the exception of not starting a new chat, right? Let's back out. Actually, we don't have to go anywhere. I will start a new chat though, and we'll pop over to sound effects first. So sound effects, these are going to be sounds that are specific, direct, concise. They serve like one purpose, right? They're one sound. Some examples I've used are gunshot sounds, chickens barking, wind chimes, door creaks, floor creaking, coin drops. Those are all most of those words I've actually used. Typically, when I'm working with the sound effects manager, I'm pretty short in my descriptions because like the sounds are meant to be kind of short. And I don't, last time I tried this, most people weren't able to hear any of the sounds I generated. But let's try some examples. Seagull, howling wind. Let's see. I just want to type in. I just want to, like I said, in the spirit of keeping it simple, let's just see what we get with seagull. And I'm going to drop this down. Let's start with the 2 seconds. We might go up to 3. You're going to see how the duration affects the sound and how we kind of judge whether or not we need more or less of it, right? So let's see what we get here. The good thing about the sound effects generator, it's fairly quick, so you can generate sounds pretty rapidly, and you get 4 at a time. This is what makes it easy to create a variety of sounds. So it's not the same gunshot sound or not the same seagull sound effect being played every time. Let's be real quiet and see if we can hear this at all. So honestly, in my opinion, just like that, there are 4 really decent seagull bits, about 2 seconds, and you can use all 4 of those. 3 little dots, save these to your library, drag them out into your scene, activate them with scripts randomly over time, and now you've got 4 different sounds of seagulls, and they all sound great. And it was one request, and it was a super simple prompt. We didn't get super complicated with it. We didn't try to add the wind right away. We can do seagulls with wind to see if see what kind of difference we get. Seagulls on windy beach or something like that. Personally, I'm not a fan of stacking sounds like this when it comes to the audio generator, but nevertheless, I'm not against trying it again. These things advance pretty rapidly. So the problem with this is, although honestly, they all sound pretty decent in my opinion, they're not continuous. We could try the same thing in new chat if you think it'll make much of a difference on that one. But
I,
good point. It did make a difference on the last one, right?
I would change the duration since it's, you need enough time to implement that windy sound
Well,
too.
that's what I was going to get at. I
Mm.
don't think the sound effect generator is even good for the windy sound because you
Oh.
can't necessarily make it continuous. We can switch over to the ambient generator and get that windy sound and then layer them together with our sound effects of the seagulls and play them at random times. And I think you'll get better results that way. But let's check if refreshing the chat made much of a difference. Mostly seagulls. Not as much windy beach this time around. I heard a little bit of wave crashing on that one, it sounded like. A little bit of wave crashing, mostly seagulls. Got more seagulls in the last one. And I bet if I was to type the same thing, and I've done this before, generate 4 completely new responses, they're going to be slightly different than the last ones. So if you only got 2 out of those that you really liked, do it again. You might get 2 more. Let's pop over to the ambient now. So I'll tell you something real quick. Ambient's not great at music or voices. So I think last time we played with this, I was able to get like voice murmuring by cocktail party background noise maybe. And the longer you set this duration limit, the longer it's going to take to generate sounds. In the spirit of saving time, we're going to just generate 20 seconds. Um, I'm going to see if I can recreate that murmuring of people in the background because I tried so many keywords that day, and it wasn't until I actually misspelled cocktail party that I got something similar to what I was looking for. But again, we're not going super descriptive. We're not being too wordy. We're not using a lot of words here. Just short and sweet. In chat, Scott says, in a prompt, is there any way to refer to a proper noun versus just a noun? Give me an example.
So I don't know. What were you thinking?
Oh, here we go. Wait, I got ahead of myself.
There you go.
Scott follows up with Washington's chair in Independence Hall. Let's see. Let's take a look. Let's listen to our sound real quick here and see if we get that murmuring I was looking for.
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, not very loud, and it may be difficult to come through unless you turn up the volume pretty loud. But what I'm hearing is a little bit of piano music in the background, faintly, and bottles and glasses kind of clinging. No people murmuring, which is fine. It wasn't what I didn't ask for it. And maybe because it was all in one chat together, it finally got the idea. So I guess there could be some degree of memory from the chat potentially. So we'll make sure to hit new chat each time we want to generate a new sound. But get an idea of kind of like what I meant by being simple again, the other day I was trying to generate some creepy background noise for a graveyard scene. Problem was the everything I was doing was like just it was over the top with wind sounds and droning sounds, and it was just too much. I wanted it to calm down a little bit. So I just went back and just used the word graveyard. And we'll see if it can repeat the kind of quality that I got last time. But yeah, just the word graveyard created something that was what I was looking for. But again, I'm thinking in the back of my mind now at this point that graveyard was built on top of a chat of me trying to get the ideal backyard or background graveyard sound. So that might have had something to do with it as well. We'll find out in just a second. Um, I apologize. I have to go back to English class to refresh my definition on proper noun versus just a noun. So you'll have to elaborate a little more, but we'll come back to it if you want. Bradley says, I have luck by just referencing a style of music and an atmosphere that I want to replicate. So I want soft jazz in a coffee cafe. I would agree. That's real short, but like to the point, right? Soft jazz, coffee cafe. I love it. Sorry, this is specific to an image, but still a universal question for prompting something specific. Let's see what this has got to. Let's see what this sounds like. The graveyard sound.
Ooh.
That's honestly, that's great. I hear a crow. I hear crickets. I hear this background hollow kind of sound. That's creepy. I would use that, right? Um, Luckily, once we find a sound that we like, we can ask in our prompts to give us like a looping sound, or if a lot of times it works if we request a sound that can be looped pretty easily in nature, like rain falling, as an example. But you can also download these sounds and put them into some kind of audio editing software that you're familiar with, and make them looping and then re-upload them like as well. So I think key takeaway is going to be keep these requests simple. That was a great that was on par with the same example I got last time I asked for graveyard. So also keep them simple, and if you want more complex sounds in your world, layer them. It tends to work out better that way. But I think I'm ready to turn this over to Glitter for the next three gen. I hope you guys enjoyed the first two. Glitter's got three more to show you, and hopefully I've left her with enough time to get through them because they're all like even cooler than the ones I just showed. So
No, generating scripts is actually really, really cool. And I do hope we're able to do a lot more in the future for sure. Especially for me as I like to say I'm a non-scripter. However, I have been dabbling a little bit and learning a little more and more, giving myself, the time and grace to do so. So I'm in a brand new world and we're going to get super duper creative. And this is your opportunity, guys, in the chat. Please chime in, let me know what kind of skybox should I make today? What kind of scenery are you looking for? Definitely. Let's have a skybox
you know
party.
what? I would like to see. Can I throw one out there?
Yeah, please,
I
please
want
do.
to I want to see how well we can do, or it can do with like a futuristic city skyline. I want
Okay.
like cyberpunk's skyline or something.
Futuristic, if I spell futuristic correctly. City
Something from Fifth Element's
skyline.
a good one. Yeah.
Oh, the fifth element.
Some keywords to throw in there.
In the um uh futuristic city skyline in the from the movie, how I'll say that, from the movie The Fifth Element. Let's see what it gives us. Uh Generate. There's another, so I don't know if you guys know the anime Akira. That is a good anime to refer to if you want to do some sort of like anime style with like bold red colors and stuff like that. I usually like to use that keyword for some artistic backgrounds. So I can actually, let's see if I can do that at the same time. Cities skyline in the setting of Akira. I usually use this in like Midjourney or anywhere else uh with bold red colors. And for this one specifically, I'm going to change the style and I'm going to do anime, right? And I'll generate that one. While that's generating, I'm going to go ahead and choose this guy here. I mean, it's not quite Fifth Element E, and there's a seam,
Fairly
but
modern, huh?
yeah, this definitely. But I can imagine some floating cars and stuff like that. What do you guys think? I want NYC like rooftops at sunset. All right, let's see. Hmm, uh, New York City rooftop.
Do you find you have to be a little more descriptive with these?
I mean, like I said, I usually like to keep it simple. I keep it super simple, and then once I see a direction uh that I'm going for, then I take that same prompt and then I'll just add to it. You know, I definitely am all about keeping it simple. Cabin in the woods with a lake. Okay. So let's see. Hold on. Let me finish New York City rooftop at sunset with God rays because why not? Because why not? And this one I'll turn to photorealism. I'll try that one. That one seems pretty interesting. Oh, it's not generating my skyline. All right. I'll just do that one for now. Let's see. Yeah, this part is always super duper fun. Like I said, usually like let's say for example this one if I actually liked it, which I don't. I'm sorry. If I liked this one, I would say, you know, I would elaborate a little further. Futuristic city skyline from the movie Fifth Element. Um I maybe I would say I don't know, something in the lines of like kind of like in a higher elevation. Because really, if you think Fifth Element, you're thinking that higher elevation, especially when Lilu comes out of that what was it that cryo chamber where she was getting mended and then she pops out onto the side of the building and she looks down and she sees all the traffic. Like when I think Fifth Element, I think of that high elevation, you're looking down into the buildings. So this is taking quite some time. And Blue, if you want to play around with the skyboxes as well, you could come into this world and we can generate together because sometimes it takes a long time.
Yeah, I'll pop over there. Let's see. You're
All
in
right,
the,
so
I think it's this one.
yep, and this one's not too bad. Oh, hello, Blue. All right, so I'm gonna apply this sky dome because we're gonna play around with this a little bit. This one's nice. Oh yeah, what do you think, King of Miami?
Interesting. It's only local to you. It won't show on my side.
Oh, I have to save and apply. And that's another thing. If you do like a sky dome, don't forget to save and apply. I've made that mistake a few times where I'm like, "Oh, I love this sky dome." I forget to save and apply. I leave, I come back and it's gone. So, definitely if you love it, save it. Um and this one is quite nice. So, I'm going to
Yeah.
save that one.
I think with the exception of like one minor mistake on one of the buildings, it looks pretty good.
Sorry, Blue. I sent you
Am
off
I
into
am I
space.
falling? Oh no.
But if you are thinking actually, if you are thinking Fifth Element, this is not a bad angle, as far as like top, like a higher elevation, top down style. So maybe we can do that same thing with that sci-fi prompt. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to copy this clipboard.
Now we
And
also have the edits or the ability to make edits to these and then bring them back in.
yes, we can. We can absolutely do that. Um, I usually do it through the website. But I'm pretty sure you can go here and go to file source and you click on that download, and there you can absolutely get your texture. So going back to just a few more generations and then we can move on from there. I just want to see if I can get the angle I'm looking for. So futuristic city skyline from the movie The Fifth Element,
Are you looking for a
rooftop.
certain point of view?
Yeah, rooftop elevation.
You might try POV and see if it
Rooftop
helps.
POV. All right. Let's see. And then we could figure out what we're going to do next. I mean, a rooftop, so we could actually generate a rooftop as far as mesh is concerned.
Hmm.
That would be really interesting. So we can just kind of like play along with what we have. But this New York City skyline is super duper nice. Look at that.
Golden hour for sure, huh?
Mm-hmm. Look at that sun and the God rays. I love that it implemented it pretty well. So yeah. All right, let's see what we're getting with this futuristic skyline. And I did keep it at photorealistic. So, but yeah, definitely don't be afraid to go back and revisit your prompts here. And like I said, if you love it, don't forget to save it. Even your prompts, you could just copy and paste it to like a notepad. I do that sometimes too. I have a whole lot of random stuff in my notepads, and it's because like I had a thought. I think it would be good for later on for use later on. So yeah, like definitely definitely save your work. That way you don't lose it. Ah, okay. Let's see. Ooh, I mean, it's not Fifth Element, but
Night.
nighttime. I mean, it's pretty dope. What do you think? It's a pretty nice elevation. Yeah, I like it too. I quite like it. All right, so I'm going to save and apply because I like it so much. And yeah, you could do a whole lot of stuff. Like kind of game like maybe flying cars game where you kind of have to like catch some hoops around in the sky or avoid traffic, like make a whole like traffic scene that is like floating in space. Like it's so many
Fifth
ideas.
element Frogger. Is that what we're talking
Fifth Element Frogger, oh my gosh, car hopping.
about?
Like imagine you're Lilu Dallas and you're car hopping to get to get to Corbin Dallas, who is going to help you in that taxi. Yeah. Everybody, I love that movie, by the way. So thank you for mentioning it. So yeah, I mean there's so many cool things you could do with this, and yeah, it's a pretty dope elevation. So yes, really cool. Okay. So let's say we love this, right? Um, so let's see what's next. Creating textures. All right, so let's get down to recreating some textures. So now we need a rooftop, right? And we could keep it super duper simple. So, and I know there's no grid. Actually I could use the grid as the guide. So I'm going to bring that back. And this is going to be my rooftop, right? And I want to use simple shapes to build this out, and that's totally fine. So I'm going to go here to the build menu, And I'm going to pull out a shape. And this time, you know what? It's going to be make that fifth element world, right? Maybe maybe I feel a little froggy, and actually we'll attempt that. We'll see. I'll reach out to you, ashes to ashes. That would be fun. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mm, place a plane. Drag it out. Sorry, I'm used to just yeah. Okay, so now when you think of rooftop, you kind of think of like a cement, you know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to this in the AI menu. I'm going to go to the texture with that selected, and I'm going to write I don't know, cement floor. Oh, spell it correctly. Floor rooftop with some, I don't know, trash. Because, you know, it's kind of a gritty, dirty setting. Like, why not? So hopefully it gives me some good trash. So so I'm gonna go ahead and generate and see what it gives us. Thank you, sir. I'm gonna make this rooftop a little bigger. Very nice. And afterwards we can we can add some like small assets, like maybe it's like a rooftop doorway. Maybe it will give us that. We could generate like a water silo. Hopefully, it gives us something really nice. The air vent, oh, the AC ducts and stuff like that. Yeah, we could do all those tiny little elements to that create a rooftop. A landing pad. Okay, we could do like a helicopter landing pad. Maybe we can get it to look very sci-fi. So let's see what it gives us here. Air car landing pad. Okay. Now, this is not that bad. Let's see what kind of trash it gave us. All right. I mean, it's kind of blown up because, you know, because of the size, but I think we can work with this. What do you guys think? Yeah, I think this is pretty nice. And of course, you could tile it up. Uh, but I'm gonna keep it that. I'm gonna keep it this size. Just keeping it simple for this live experiment. Another thing I'd like to do is I'd like to take this a little further with some more shapes. Let's see. Mm, not the beveled cube. I need a regular cube. There we go. And I'd like for this cube to be I don't know, cement as well. Actually, save and apply texture. Remember to save and apply these textures. I tend to be all over the place and I lose things that I love. And yeah, so definitely go back, save a lot and save often. Okay, so for this one, I'm just gonna say cement, or actually dirty cement. Now the texture might end up being all stretched out because I am going to stretch it out. However, uh, another option is to take what you have created here with your idea already in place. You see how it's going to look with texture. Don't be afraid to export it from Horizon and get down in Blender. Like really make that magic happen. So that's what this is all about. This is like super fun. And yeah, you could take this idea, you're like, and just build it out. That's it. It's like it's super simple. And one thing to note though is when you do build out of Blender, make sure that you know how to do basic things like UV unwrapping is really important. I can't stress that enough. Once you actually learn how to do some UV unwrapping, you could do anything. I promise you. And some people are like, ah, I hate UV unwrapping. Um, trust the process. So, yeah. Here we are. Let's see. Is it generating? Yes, it's still working. And if you need help with some UV unwrapping, don't forget to book a mentor. We have plenty of people on staff to help you along your 3D modeling journey. So definitely give us a holla holla. All right, so yeah, I have this dirty cement block. I am going to stretch it out, but don't you worry. It's just for visualization. So I'm gonna go ahead, just crash that in there really quick. Stretch that out. I know there's like the snapping is not, but this is going to be rough. Here we are. Okay, so we're starting to frame out this. Honestly, like I do wish there was like an orthographic view so I can see what I'm doing in totality, but that's why Blender is there. So don't forget to utilize that tool. It's free. Okay. Do, 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 do. So come on, save and apply. Be nice to me. Thank you very much. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to Control D to duplicate. And now just building this rooftop out. Just the reason why I'm doing it this way is because the player is not going to see beyond the confines of the rooftop. So we could pretend that this top is like it's on top of a building or something, but nobody's going to see the rest of it. I'm going to go ahead and Control D, and I'm going to rotate this by that 90 degrees, roughly. I saw that like that little bit, but there we are. Control D, bring that down. Now, as you can see, now we have kind of like the start of what this magic could be. So now, now that we have a little bit of a setting and it's super duper simple, I'm going to go ahead and take away this grid. Right. Okay. I don't know if anybody has ever been to a very high rooftop and then you look down and you're like, ooh. Especially in New York, if you've ever been in those buildings and yeah, it can get a little ooh. With sound effects and everything. If you're afraid of heights, I'm sorry. Okay, so next thing I would like to create is so a rooftop. So we are talking about a car landing pad, which we might be able to generate something really cool. A water silo. It gives rooftop vibes. Possibly a door, but I'm not sure how well we could do that. Another thing um I'd like to attempt, and that may be at the very end of this whole thing, is uh, a ladder. Have you ever seen like a rooftop with a ladder to the side? I don't know, something like that, very urban. I know this is like a sci-fi setting, but it's like this is our world. We could do what we want. All right, so so I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to creating our mesh. So we have the base, and then we're going to go to our gen mesh. And the first step is we're going to do sci-fi sci-fi car landing wait flying car landing pad with metallic and neon metallic and neon details. Let's see what it gives us. Well, how would you guys prompt this? for the car landing pad. Sound off in the chat. Let me know what you would say while this generates. I have that Blue Lady song in my head, by the way. I'm not gonna attempt it, but just if you know the movie, you know. Oh my gosh, I love that movie so much. Super geeked. All right, so let's see. Guru knows. Might have to watch that movie after. I'm not gonna lie. All right, we have some cool stuff going on here. Let's see. Oh, this one's very interesting. So I'm gonna texture this model. Stream the movie, right? We're gonna have to stream the movie. All right. And this guy here. Those two. I don't like this artifacting here. I mean, because we could jazz it up with some of the VFX that are provided to us. So let's see. Do, 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 do. I think this one's gonna be the winner. I do like the little details it gives. It's like more dynamic with those little spokes on the side. Hopefully it gives us some good texturing.
Have you found that sometimes the model changes after you texture it?
Yes. It has actually I'm not quite sure why it does that. Um but yeah, I have seen that. And sometimes it's a little disappointing. It's like, I envisioned something a little different. But that's when you have to kind of like give the AI a little patience, you know. It's trying its best. And it's growing. So hopefully later on we'll get something more like, a little more what's the word I'm looking for? Like uniform on how it works, like its workflow and stuff like that. But that's like, if you envision something that is generated like in these pictures and you really like it, like, don't be afraid to take that one picture that you liked so much and try to attempt it in Blender. You don't have to be married to what the AI gives you. It's like, all right, I have an idea, I've iterated it, like, through this picture alone I have inspiration. Take that inspiration, even just take that picture, take it, like, take a screenshot, put it on a notepad. I do like to use PureRef to drop screenshots. It's a free program to use. Is just for referencing. Referencing is key when it comes to 3D modeling. So yeah, pros use it. So definitely use those tools, especially when they're free to use. So I'm going to go ahead and save out this model. This one actually seems pretty nice, and maybe I can use that as an accent somewhere. So I'm going to save this model as well. Alrighty. So while those do their thing, there we are. Gonna go ahead and just drop this guy. Oh, it's still working. My bad. Okay. Do the thing. Oh, while that generates, I'm going to do uh future futuristic um rooftop water silo with grungy details and neon lights. All right, futuristic rooftop water silo with grungy details and neon lights. Let's see what that gives us. And looks like these guys are still loading. Ah, there we are. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that out and see what it looks like. So obviously the details are not going to glow, and that would be our turn to kind of like just jazz it up um jazz it up with Photoshop. Like you could take it to the textures to Photoshop and work your magic if you know how to like make MEOs and stuff through there. You if you have Substance Painter, you could actually take this into Substance Painter and work your magic in there. If you do have Substance Painter, you could also do stuff with Blender as well. So or Krita, you could definitely manipulate these textures to do exactly what you want. Like, for example, I would take this into Photoshop and I would, you know, create the emissive layer on the MEO and just kind of like paint around these guys to make them super duper unlit glowy. Because I mean, really, glow is not real in Horizon. It's more like you have to kind of fake it. Ooh, this looks really good. All right, so I have that one landing pad, which I might use this for something else. I think I really like this one. So let's see what that looks like. All righty. This one's not too shabby, and this one's actually pretty decent. So, all right, yeah, cool. This is not bad. And then maybe we can put a floating car and have it hover over just to hint that that's what that is. So super neat, super cool. Let's look at this water silo. So okay, I really like this one. Oh yeah, that's you could like I said, you could use Krita, you could use any of those photo editing programs. It's just super simple to do. And yeah, Photopea is another one, another free site. You have Photopea, you have GIMP, you have, anything that it has to do with photo editing. I'm gonna texture this guy. Uh, and this guy is really nice. So I may use them all. So really cool. What else am I missing on this rooftop, guys? Chime in the chat. Give me some more items other than the flying car. Actually, I'm gonna do sci-fi flying car with neon details. Let that load. Some lights. Okay. So futuristic light posts. Post. All right. Let me let this think a little bit. I don't want to overload it too much.
I like Photopea. I use it a lot.
Yeah, Photopea is actually pretty great. It does emulate that Photoshop experience really well. And you could also use Procreate. I heavily use Procreate. If you do have an iPad and if you do have that program installed, be sure to use it to your advantage. You could absolutely even paint right onto your 3D models, which is really fun, super fun. I've taught a few people how to do that. It's an amazing tool for what it is. Ooh, I'm gonna save this guy. Yeah, so I'm gonna let that think. Oh, these are not flying cars. These are like what, Corvettes? That's not what I want. All right. So I'm gonna
Do you
save
know of
this.
any flying cars?
Uh, or how about this? Uh, before I do the light post. I'm gonna do um flying drone vehicle. Futuristic. I don't know why I can't spell futuristic today. Ah, flying drone vehicle with neon accents. There we are. Because nothing says futuristic than neon. Oh, it froze there a little bit. Okay. Yeah. You see, so sometimes it like if it has too much going on, for me, my my Horizon desktop editor freezes a little bit. So definitely be careful with that. Loading. See, that's pretty cool. This little drone guy. Ooh, I like this one. And I kind of like that one. See, really neat. Okay. Actually, I'm going to use this little landing pad for this water silo. Because why not layer it up? There we are. I was kind of hoping it would be on like some posts and stuff, but I could absolutely generate those posts. Um, actually, do that. Do a little something like this, really setting the scene. There we are. And I could just move this guy on this side to give more room for gameplay. But as you guys can see, like you can really do a lot with, you know, iterating what you want your scene to look like. Um I could like add boxes and more trash. Um Two more items and then I think we're solid. Um Futuristic light post. I'm going to go ahead and generate that. And yeah, what do you guys think? Does this inspire you to make like start gray boxing a new world? Sound off in the chat. Let me know. Like how will you be using these tools? Yes, I like to hear that. I like to hear creators being inspired. So definitely, keep creating. And don't forget to. Whoa, that is so cool. Wait a minute. This is cool too. That I don't know what that is. That's interesting. These are really cool staging elements. This one kind of reminds me of like a wizard staff or maybe like an item from like the show Arcane. Um, yeah, really neat. Actually, this one looks more like a light post. So I'm gonna do this one and I'm gonna texture this one. So hopefully I didn't just overload it. But we are running out of time, which is okay. And you guys, thank you for being here. You guys are awesome. I love seeing this crowd. I see a lot of familiar names, and some new names I don't recognize just yet. So the fourth one, yeah, the fourth one is really cool. This one really reminds me of that League of Legends arcane style. So I'm really curious to see what it gives us. How many of us have actually watched that show and admired the artwork from that show? Because like, yeah, so cool. And actually sound off in the chat like what 3 CGI art style inspires you. Um, like you have your classic World of Warcraft, you have your League of Legends, the music. Oh my gosh. I have the music on my playlist for sure. Really cool stuff. Um Another style, which is like super duper popular, is the Fortnite style. They have a very distinct style as well. Um, if you look at Pixar, they have another style. I don't know. Or even that movie Flow with the painterly style that they use. Into the Spider Verse is another one where it's like, that style is amazing. Hogwarts Legacy. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Like that old school like paint, ink and paper style. No, I get it. It's super nice. Was it the Tom Riddle's diary? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and save that out. I'm gonna take out this water silo because why not beef it up a little bit since we have it. Come on. This one has a nice little base, which is nice. So I'm gonna do this. So
It works well in like dark environments, doesn't it?
yeah, it's pretty. It's coming out pretty nice. Change it up so it looks like a different machine. Um, there we are. Actually, I'd like to make this kind of like a center post. Let's see what it looks like if we just kind of like. This doesn't look like a light to me. It looks like some sort of like very futuristic antenna, you know? Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, like experiment with the shapes that is are given to you. Like maybe this is like a generator and like you put a dynamic light on it and it pulsates like this bright color, and you give it a sound like wow wow wow, for ambience. Yeah, like it's pretty neat. I'm gonna save this model too, put some lights. But yeah, like now we've made somewhat of a sci-fi rooftop situation. Save that model too. And like, I don't know, let's call this Club Sci-Fi Unicorn. I mean, I'm not for making a club world, but you guys get it. Like you can put mini games on this rooftop and call it a day, something lasery, something uh cool for mobile, I guess. So there we are. Put some lights. Oh, that's not what I grabbed, but all right, I'll take it. I shall take it. So here we are, and we have our flying car kind of hovering, waiting for its passengers. Uh, bring out a light post, and don't forget to jazz this place up with some dynamic lights. Not dynamic lights, static lights. Don't go too crazy on the dynamics. I would specifically use those dynamic lights um if you have something scripted, you know. But yeah, welcome to my sci-fi-esque rooftop where all awesome sci-fi things happen. So, what do you guys think? Are you inspired? Are you going to make something cool? Sound off in the chat. Thank you so much for being here.